John Sandwig, who held the same job as Tom Homan, former acting director of Immigration and Customs Enforcement, and MSNBC contributor Paula Ramos. So, Paula, Tom Homan as border czar. You've got South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem, looks like she's going to be the DHS secretary, plus Stephen Miller back in the mix. What do these picks tell you?
I mean, I think these are people that we know will enable Donald Trump's worst instincts, right? I think this is a moment where I believe history won't just be repeating itself, but we're about to enter, I think, a darker, crueler, uglier version of the past. That past, I think, forces us to think about Homan, right? Homan is literally the intellectual father, the architect of family separation. I mean, according to The Atlantic in 2022, the great Caitlin Dickerson already inferred that in 2014, Homan was already pitching the idea of family separation. So basically, he is the one that understood that if you weaponize cruelty, that could serve as a deterrent. He shamelessly has understood that cruelty is the point. We know that in 2014, the Obama administration thought that family separation was too heartless. It was then, of course, implemented under the Trump administration. But I think the difference between then and now is that here you have Homan that will be enabled by Trump loyalists like Stephen Miller, people that literally believe in the great replacement theory, that are so preoccupied with preserving whiteness, that will perhaps govern with a little bit more revenge. And so the question is, what will that look like when you enable the most visceral anti-immigrant sentiments in this country?
John.
Why does it always come back to preserving whiteness? That's not what the United States of America looks like. The United States of America is a melting pot, but what we want to preserve is law. What we want to preserve is our jobs. What we want to preserve is economic stability, and we don't want any terrorist attacks by having people come over here and doing things that's unvetted, like Laken Riley, like the immigrant that ultimately, and I'm going to keep mentioning this, over in New York that just raped a 5-year-old, like all of the different women that were killed and assaulted from illegal migrants over into this country. And so instead of us addressing what the problem was in the first place, and again, nobody is against migrating into this country illegally, but when you come over here illegally, you can't just get a reprieve and then just get a pass to do what you want to do when you want to do it. You got to be accountable for your actions. You got to be accountable for what you say. You got to be accountable for what you do. And especially if you break the law, you have to be deported. And so they want to paint this picture like, well, it's going to be a dark past. Well, tell me about the people over there in Springfield that basically infrastructure is being upended as we speak, and different people are suffering because they went from a population of 40,000 to 60,000 overnight. Tell me about that. Tell me about the gangs that were terrorizing over in Aurora, because see, we want to forget about that now that the election is over, but I haven't forgotten because I've been covering this migrant crisis since 2021, since Biden got in office. Right? And so it's not a deeper, darker, it's a brighter future. And if people care so much about what's happening, then they need to stand up for their country the same way that we are. They need to demand that their federal government and their legislative branches and their elected leaders are doing the things that's in the best interest of the people, and not just running over here and saying, hey, we're going to take over your country and bring what we had over there over to here. That's not how it works. That's not how you can play things out.
Reaction to this pick. Do you have concerns?
Well, look, I have concerns with the Trump, campaign promises for mass deportation. And there's a lot of talk right now, and Tom is saying some of the right things. Hey, we're going to focus on criminals first. We're going to get the worst first out. But when you're talking about the numbers that they're talking about, 1 million in the first year or 11 million over the 4 years, those are not criminals. If you look back at 2019, the last year before the pandemic of the Trump administration, they arrested.
First of all, we've had an estimation of anywhere between 11 million and 22 million people come over here without being vetted the proper way. Anytime that you cross the border illegally, then that makes you a criminal. Anytime that you cross the border illegally, that makes you a criminal. So please, we don't have to wait for you to break into a home or to destroy somebody's lives or to rape a 5-year-old or to kill a Laken Riley before we designate you as a criminal. The fact that you, on your way over here, broke the law makes you a criminal. I don't really understand why these people are not getting it.
arrested 123,000 people either charged with or were convicted with a crime. So there was no lack of political will during that time. It was just that there are not large swaths of criminal undocumented immigrants operating in this country. The other concern I have on it is, when you set these numerical goals, 1 million in the first year, is that that's a quantitative approach instead of a qualitative approach. And what by that I mean is there are some at-large criminals operating in this country. There are transnational gang members who are not in custody of a state or local jail, who are committing horrific crimes in the United States. Nowhere near as many as the Trump campaign alleged, but they are operating. To get those individuals, though, for ICE is very tedious work. It takes a lot of manpower. It takes undercover operations, traditional law enforcement tactics. The point is it results in a very low number of arrests, but of a higher quality. And unfortunately, that's not the approach the administration has said, the incoming administration said they're going to take. They're going for mass deportations, which means the lower hanging fruit of the immigration system, the population that's been here a long time, the parents of the 4.4 million U.S. citizens who have an undocumented parent. That's who's going to be by and large targeted when you're talking the numbers they're talking about.
And that's how he no longer needs to be in that position, because it's not low hanging fruit. Listen, over the last 3.5 years, and I don't care how long you've been here, when you've been doing it illegally, we got to start paying attention, because there's too many people that actually went through the legal process and did it the right way. And those are the ones that are saying, hey, what the hell is happening over at the border? And why are y'all letting these people come in and do things illegally when we had to do it legally? And they also finessing the system. And I had this conversation on the Millionaire Morning Show, in which they're getting pregnant, or they're bringing children over here, more importantly, getting pregnant, which is a practice that is used by the Asian community outside of the United States of America. They're getting pregnant and having their children in the United States of America, which is basically giving them a form of asylum here in the United States, and it's making their children dual citizens like they are back in China, right? And so, when I see people finessing the system, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. I see illegal migrants breaking the law in real life, not just on the news, in real time. I've seen how they give themselves a leg up on Americans every single day by then leveraging the fact that they have multiple different people inside of their houses, getting money from the federal government, especially in the form of food stamps or EBT or whatever it is that you want to call it, leveraging that in order to buy their products to then sell to the American people, and they're not even paying taxes on it because they then take in cash. I see so much happening that is illegal, that is not in the best interest of the United States of America, and we want to sit here and go back and forth about what the federal government need to do. The federal government need to enforce the laws that we've already passed that is on the books. And that's the reason why we got Kamala Harris up out of here in the first place. So the fact that Trump is delivering on a campaign promise by putting somebody in office that not only has the experience, has done the job before, but is passionate about making sure that he get these people out of here that are committing the crimes against the people in the United States of America and breaking the law to get over here in the first place, is right up my alley. And the only thing that I care about is enforcing the law. If you are not breaking the law, then you don't have anything to worry about. If you broke the law, including breaking the law to get over here, then you and your kids and your family, they need to get up out of here, because they don't play this in no other place. This is the only place in the world, it seems like, where you can just come over, do what you want to do. You can't even do that in North Korea, and they poor as piss. It's the only place you can do this in the world, where you can do what you want to do, get away with it, and then expect people to make sure that they accommodate your needs and pay for it with taxpayer dollars. Those days is over. Let me know what y'all think inside of the comments. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon link is in the description. Also, Teach Hanley, 40% off your first order plus 20% off for life. I love you. I appreciate you. Let me know your authentic thoughts inside of the comments. I'm going to holler at you later. Peace.